Right now, someone is deciding whether to trust you. You are doing the same thing to them. Neither of you realizes it. Your brain made that call in less than a second. Before you noticed their smile. Before they said a word. Most people think trust is earned slowly over time through actions. The research says otherwise. Your brain built its verdict about a stranger before your conscious mind even caught up. And it built that verdict from almost nothing. Think about the last time you met someone new. A job interview, a first date, a salesperson at your door. Within a fraction of a second, some part of you had already decided, safe or not safe, friend or threat. You didn't choose that reaction. It happened to you. In 2006, a psychologist named Alexander Todorov ran an experiment at Princeton that exposed exactly how fast this judgment happens. He showed people photographs of unfamiliar faces for just 1/10 of a second. Not enough time to read an expression, not enough time to think. And yet, participants confidently rated each face as trustworthy or untrustworthy, competent or incompetent, dangerous or safe. 1/10 of a second. That's all your brain needs to build a verdict about a total stranger. Why would evolution wire you this way? Because for most of human history, a wrong guess could kill you. If a stranger approached your ancestors on an open plain, there was no time for a background check. There was no time to gather references or read reviews. There was only a fraction of a second to decide, run or stay. The humans who guessed wrong, who lingered too long around the wrong kind of stranger, didn't get to pass on their genes. The ones who guessed fast, even if they guessed wrong sometimes, survived long enough to reproduce. You are the descendant of the fast guessers. Not the accurate ones, the fast ones. That distinction matters more than you'd think, because a fast system isn't built for accuracy. It's built for speed, and speed means shortcuts. Your brain doesn't evaluate a stranger's actual character. It can't. It has no access to that information. Instead, it scans for surface-level cues that once correlated loosely with safety. A wide smile, open body language, a symmetrical face, a voice that doesn't waver. None of these things prove honesty, but your brain treats them as if they do. This is called thin slicing. In the late 1990s, researchers Nalini Ambady and Robert Rosenthal ran a now-famous study where people watched silent video clips of college professors teaching, each clip lasting only a few seconds. Just a few seconds, with no sound. Then they asked viewers to rate how effective each professor was. The ratings from those few silent seconds closely matched the ratings given by students who had sat through an entire semester with that same professor. A few seconds of body language predicted months of experience. Your brain doesn't need much information to build a confident conclusion. It just needs to feel confident. Feeling and accuracy are not the same thing, but your brain conflates them constantly. Here's where it gets more dangerous. This fast, thin-sliced trust isn't just about strangers on the street. It's the exact mechanism con artists, scammers, and manipulators have learned to exploit. A confident handshake, direct eye contact, a well-tailored suit. None of these predict honesty, but they all trigger the same ancient shortcut in your brain that once helped your ancestors avoid predators on the savannah. The shortcut hasn't updated. The world around it has. Scammers know this, even if they've never read a psychology paper. They dress the part. They mirror your tone. They smile at the right moments. And your brain, running the same 1/10 of a second software it's run for 100,000 years, hands over its trust before your conscious mind has a chance to weigh in. There's a biological layer to this too. In the early 2000s, neuroeconomist Paul Zak ran a series of trust game experiments where strangers were given money and asked to decide how much to send to another anonymous participant, knowing it could be doubled or knowing it could be lost entirely. Zak found that when one stranger showed trust by sending money, the other stranger's brain released a surge of oxytocin, the same hormone involved in bonding between a parent and child. Oxytocin doesn't just respond to trust, it manufactures more of it. The chemical creates a feedback loop where being trusted makes you more likely to trust in return. It's a chain reaction your brain runs automatically without asking your permission. This is part of why trust can spread so quickly in a room, and part of why it can be manufactured so easily by someone who understands the mechanism. A single gesture of apparent vulnerability or generosity can trigger a chemical cascade that overrides your skepticism. There's another layer still. Psychologists Tanya Chartrand and John Bargh discovered something called the chameleon effect in the late 1990s. In their study, they had participants sit in a room with another person, unaware that this other person was actually part of the experiment. The plant would subtly mimic the real participant's posture, gestures, and mannerisms. Nothing obvious, just small, unconscious echoes. Participants who were mimicked reported liking the other person more and rated the interaction as smoother, even though they never consciously noticed they'd been copied. Mimicry builds trust below the level of awareness. It's one of the oldest tricks in negotiation, sales, and yes, manipulation. Match someone's tone, match their pace, match the tilt of their head. Their guard drops, and they don't know why. None of this means you're broken or naive or bad at reading people. It means you're running the same hardware every human on Earth is running. The hardware that kept your ancestors alive is the same hardware that makes you vulnerable to a stranger in a nice suit today. So what do you actually do with this? You can't turn off the 1/10 of a second judgment. It happens before you're even aware of it. But you can build a habit of pausing before you act on it. Trust the flash judgment enough to be polite. Don't trust it enough to be reckless. Ask yourself, when something feels immediately, overwhelmingly trustworthy, whether that feeling is coming from evidence or from a smile, a posture, a mirrored gesture. Slow decisions are harder for manipulators to exploit than fast ones. That's not a coincidence. It's the entire reason they push you to decide quickly, to sign now, to invest today, to trust them before you've had time to think. Consider the moments in your own life where you decided about someone almost instantly and were wrong. Not because you're a bad judge of character, because you were never built to judge character in a 1/10 of a second. You were built to judge threat. Threat and character are not the same question. Your brain has just never stopped confusing the two. Right now, someone is deciding whether to trust you. And whether they're right about you or not has almost nothing to do with who you actually are, and almost everything to do with a shortcut written into their mind 100,000 years before either of you were born.
Want to truly understand people?
Decode success with us.